Hello grade 4, it's Mr. Hagan, and today we have lesson 22 grammar, okay? So, let's start with page 295, okay? Page 295. And let's take a look at what do we have today. We have negatives, okay? We're going to start with contractions with not. A negative is to say that something did not happen, or there's nothing of something, or there's none. Okay, so a negative is a word that makes a sentence mean no. A negative contraction is made with a verb and the negative word not. An apostrophe takes the place of the letter O in each contraction with not. Okay, let's see an example over here of a contraction with not. Esther isn't at home, but she may be at the hat shop. Isn't. What is isn't? It's what is not, but we made it into a contraction, so it became isn't. Esther isn't at home. So here we have, write the contraction for the underlined word or words in each sentence. There are not any blue hats in the window today. So we want to put are not into a contraction. So it's going to be what? It's going to be aren't, right? Aren't. Are not, but we put an apostrophe instead of the O in not, so it became aren't. So there aren't any blue hats in the window today. Okay. Number 2. This hat does not have a ribbon. So it does not. We want to make it into a contraction into one word. It's going to be what? Doesn't. Exactly. So number 2, this hat doesn't have a ribbon. Doesn't. Same thing, an apostrophe instead of the O. Okay, number 3. That small cowboy hat will not fit Mr. Fox's head. So we want to put will not into a contraction. And this one here is a little bit tricky because will not is an exception to the rule. We can't say willn't. It's not a word. But there's another word for it that looks a little bit different. It's what? Won't. So when we have will not, it becomes won't. That small cowboy hat won't fit Mr. Fox's head. So we're going to say won't. Number 4. There were not many customers today. Okay, there were not many customers today. So we're going to put were not into a contraction. It's going to be weren't. There weren't many customers today. Easy, right? So we're going to say weren't. Alright, number 5. The seamstress cannot find her sewing needle. Cannot. You're going to put cannot into a contraction. So we're going to take away the N and the O and put an apostrophe. It's going to look like this. Can't, right? Can't. Right? Can't. So you see we took one N out and we took the O away and we just put what? An apostrophe and a T. Can't. So it's also an exception just like won't. Number 6. Please do not sit on my hat. Do not. Do not will become what? Don't, right? Don't. Let's go to number 7. Miss Kelly did not buy the hat with red stripes. Did not. So Miss Kelly did not buy the hat with red stripes. Did not. Did not will become didn't. Excellent. Alrighty, number 8. Esther had not made a hat this large before. Had not will become hadn't. Great job. Alrighty. Let's move on to page 296. So, here we have using negatives, okay? So, the words no, no one, nobody, none, nothing, nowhere, and never are negatives. A contraction with a verb and the word not is also a negative. When making a negative statement, make sure to use just one negative. Do not use more than one negative in the same sentence, okay? So here we have the positive form. It's what? I understand the candidate's opinions. That's in the positive. Well, it's in the negative. There's one way to do it, which is I don't understand the candidate's opinions. Or I can say I understand none of the candidate's opinions. So here we have what? Negatives, right? Here we did a contraction with not and the verb don't, and here we use the word none. So we said that we can use no, no one, nobody, none, nothing, nowhere, and never as negatives. Let's do some exercise and see. So, number 1. Anybody in the 5th grade can run for class president. So you want to put this sentence in the negative. There's two ways. We can say no one in the 5th grade can run for class president, right? Or anybody in the 5th grade can't run for class president. But the first way is better, okay? Nobody in the 5th grade can run for class president, or no one. Okay, so we're going to say here, nobody in the 5th grade can run for class president. Okay, number 2. Roger is running for class president. So what are we going to do over here? We're going to change the verb into a negative. Roger isn't running for class president. Or say, Roger isn't running for class president. Okay, number 3. Tom has asked Roger if he can be his vice president. We can say, Tom never asked Roger if he can be his vice president. Okay? Or Tom hasn't asked Roger if he can be his vice president. Say, Tom has never asked Roger if he can be his vice president. Alrighty. Number 4. Myung-Yoon always likes to help make campaign posters. Or we can say Myung-Yoon never likes to help make campaign posters. Alright, number 5. Everyone is excited about the school elections this year. Or we can say, no one is excited about the school elections this year. Or everyone isn't excited. Okay, so we're going to say no one is excited about the school elections this year. Alrighty, number 6. We have the class president can do something about all of the issues that bother students. Okay, so we can say the class president can't do anything about all of the issues that bother students, or the class president can do nothing about all of the issues that bother students. So we're going to put nothing instead of something. We're going to make it negative. Okay, so we're going to say the class president can do nothing about any of the issues that bother the students. Alrighty, great job. Okay, let's move on to the next page. So here we're talking about avoiding double negatives, not to do two negatives in one sentence. Words such as not, no, and never are negative. Using two negatives together is called a double negative. Never use two negatives together in a sentence. Okay? My mother won't tell nobody how she voted. That's a double negative. It doesn't even sound right. So what's the correct way to put it? Well, for example, my mother won't tell anybody how she voted. Won't is a negative, only negative here, okay? Or my mother will tell nobody how she voted. Nobody's a negative. But we can't put won't and nobody together like they did over here. This is wrong. So do not use double negatives ever. Okay, numbers 1 to 8. It says here, write the correct word shown in parentheses to complete the sentence. Okay, so there is or isn't no presidential candidate that my parents completely support. Okay, there is no presidential candidate. Why? Because here we have no, which is a negative, so we cannot put isn't, right? So we're going to put is. Okay? There is no presidential candidate. Okay, number 2. That candidate hasn't said anything or nothing about the important issues. We're going to say hasn't said anything. Why? Because hasn't here is what has not. Not is a negative, so we cannot use nothing, which is another negative. Only one negative per sentence, remember? Number 3. He doesn't support any or none of the laws to help the environment. Doesn't, negative, right? None, negative, so we cannot use none, so we're going to use any. Okay? Any of the laws. Okay? Number 4, don't vote for anyone, no one, without learning his or her political views. Don't, right? A negative. So we're going to choose anyone because no one is another negative. So the correct answer is anyone. Okay? Great job. Number 5, doesn't. Doesn't. Not, does not, negative. Anybody or nobody agree with that candidate's views. We're going to choose anybody because nobody is negative. So the correct answer is anybody. Okay, number 16. Isn't there anywhere or nowhere I can get better information about the candidates? Isn't, negative, nowhere, negative. So we're going to choose anywhere, right? Yes. Anywhere is the correct answer over here. Number 7. The voters have or haven't no choice but to support the new law. Is there any negatives over here? Yes, there is, right? No choice. No. So we're gonna choose what have, because haven't is a negative and no is a negative. We cannot do a double negative. So we're gonna choose have. Alrighty. Number 8. This candidate has or hasn't never been honest with the voters. Never is a negative, hasn't is a negative, so we're going to choose has, right? Great job. Okay, easy, I think, right? So if any questions, please leave in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them, okay? And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.